Good morning, I'm Nikki Stanzione.
I'm Kristen Van Dyke.
And this is New Mexico style, and apparently March is the top month for kicking a spouse to the curb. Oh, that's dramatic. Yes, this is really interesting though. According to findlaw.com, searches for the word divorce actually jump by 50% in January, but actual divorce filings peak during March.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know, it says that possible factors driving this marital March Madness include procrastination, meaning couples have been thinking about divorce for some time. They've been putting off their decision to file to avoid additional stress during the holiday season. And then March, I guess, is the time they say, all right, it's time to get it done.
Yeah, well, over the holidays, you're like, well, we got the holidays to get through. Let's see how it goes. I don't want to, you know, there's families involved, that whole thing.
That's true.
You know, and then for others, the stress of in-laws, obviously, money troubles and career challenges, also coupled with the pressures to actually be happy. You know, it's like we all want to be happy. That often leads to some men and women to cheat on their spouses, which of course often triggers divorce. And you know,
I can see that. You know how, you know, remember in Bambi when they have like love is in the air and all the animals are going crazy in the springtime? You know, that maybe that happens in real life too. People start getting spring fever and then straying away. That's a sad thing to do. I do love spring fever. But if you're not married, you know.
Right. No. And if you're in that position where you feel like the need to do that, then obviously you're not in the right relationship in the first place.
Right.
I mean, that's the point. And another reason that many people delay divorce until after holidays is also related to income tax filings. I mean, we're talking about the taxes, and the time is here. And filing jointly can actually save couples money, but it definitely puts a lot of stress on the relationship. So
right. So they're like, okay, let's get that last good check from the government and then call it
bye-bye. And then we'll separate our assets and move on.
Right.
And move on to something else. It's kind of messed up, you know, I mean, when you think about it, but I guess it is, if you are going to find yourself unhappy in your marriage and you find that there's something better for you and you're not happy, I would say it's probably a better time than over the holidays, for sure, to go wait till March, because it's not like anything's coming up, you know. The holidays
but at the same time, then you're giving all those presents to each other and all of that stuff. And then it's like, oh, well, I just got you this for Valentine's Day, and a few months later, you kick me to the curb.
Can I have my diamonds back? Let's check in with KRQE News 13 anchor Elizabeth Alvarez with this morning's headlines. Good morning, happily married Elizabeth Alvarez.
Good morning, ladies. And you know, these couples that are looking for divorce also can use their income tax refunds to help pay for the divorce.
Right. Good point.
That could be another reason. You know.
Very good point.
All right. Good morning to you at home as well. Topping your morning news headlines this morning, we have just learned that 2 victims are dead after a violent night in Gallup where there were 4 different shootings. 5 people were shot. Again, we are learning a 15-year-old and another man has died. The details are still not clear at this point as to the entire ordeal, but what we do know is that the 2 men were shot around 7:30 last night at the Pinon Hills apartment complex near Derry and Patton. Again, they have now died. According to police, cops do have 2 suspects in custody. 45 minutes after that shooting, another person was shot at the Gallup Indian Medical Center. That person is expected to survive. And Gallup police say there were also 2 more shootings overnight where 2 men were shot with a pellet gun. One was actually during a robbery at a Shell station. We'll, of course, have more info for you coming up on KRQE News 13 at noon. We do have an update for you on that wild stolen school bus chase that caused part of Interstate 40 to shut down last Friday. We now know the name of the deputy who shot the suspect, and we have the first 911 calls that came into police.
That school bus has already rammed into 2 of our units.
The suspect, Nathaniel Shipman, is accused of stealing a school bus and crashing it on Interstate 40 near Rio Grande. Bernalillo County Sheriff officials say it was Deputy Michael Carrasco who helped put a stop to the ordeal. They say the deputy shot the suspect 3 times. Now, the suspect is still recovering at UNM Hospital. He is charged with stealing a vehicle and aggravated fleeing. A possible new lifeline for what some say is the dying lottery scholarship here in New Mexico. A new law now allows New Mexicans to donate a portion of their state income tax refunds to the scholarship. The lottery scholarship are paid for by money from lottery tickets. Now, they cover the tuition costs for high schoolers who attend a public university or college in the state, but the scholarship is facing financial problems because the cost is more than lottery revenues. All right, listen up. Uncle Sam may have some cash with your name on it. About 100,000 people here in New Mexico who never filed their 2008 income tax returns can now do so with no penalties, and you stand a chance to get some money back. News 13's David Romero explains.
The IRS says they have $7.4 million in the bank worth of refunds from 2008 for those who didn't take a little time to file their taxes.
These are individuals, for whatever reason, didn't submit that 2008 return. Maybe they thought they didn't meet the filing threshold, or they just didn't have, say, the time to take to prepare the return.
If you think you qualify for the refund, you need to file before April 17th of this year. If the money goes unclaimed, it becomes property of the U.S. Treasury. There are also other rebates 2008 late filers could claim.
The Earned Income Tax Credit, which is a credit for people who work but don't make a lot of money, and it's a refundable credit, which means it could cause a refund, increase a refund, or reduce a tax bill.
Some people who didn't receive an economic stimulus payment in 2008 may also qualify for the recovery rebate credit.
That's even more money on the table that they may be leaving behind.
To qualify for all of this, you need to have filed your 2009 and 2010 returns. Also, if you have any money owed to the IRS, unpaid child support payments, or federal debts like student loans, that pending refund will be applied to pay those debts. David Romero, KRQE News 13.
Now, if you are one of those people who still need to file for that refund, keep in mind that money that you have on account with the government will not have earned any interest since that time. Well, they are some of the best teachers in New Mexico, this year's Golden Apple Award winners. Today, I take you to Taos Charter School, where Nathaniel Evans is known for his natural ability to make a difference in the lives of his students. Nathaniel Evans says being a teacher just came naturally.
How you enter the classroom is how the class is going to respond to you.
He tells me he first started tutoring kids back when he was a kid, only in the 7th grade. Today, he's teaching 7th and 8th graders science and math at Taos Charter School. Two challenging subjects, but it seems the students in his classes are doing just fine.
We get a relationship that is based off of trust, and then that allows me to teach them anything.
Mr. Evans possesses a talent. He knows how to engage his classes. That's one reason why he's one of this year's Golden Apple Award winners. Mr. Evans says he reminds himself that students are a reflection of their teachers.
If you're tired, you're going to have a hard day. So if you're energetic and upbeat, then things are going to be a lot easier for you.
Every day, these young teens and preteens are learning something new. And so is Mr. Evans.
I learn more from my students than I think they learn from me.
Mr. Evans is so energetic. You saw him doing that Tai Chi. And he also likes to keep updated with technology that will, he says, also helps him relate to his kids. And that wraps it up for your morning headlines. Be sure to catch Matt Morrow, Kristen Van Dyke, and me every weekday morning on KRQE News 13, beginning at 4:30 a.m. Ladies, have a terrific Tuesday.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, you got to keep that energy up for those kids every day. I think about us, like all three of us, and how we have to get up early and keep energy for TV for a couple hours. Imagine the whole day.
I use coffee.
One of these days, I think I'll go there. But everybody always asks, what are you guys really drinking those cups? Water. Except on days where I'm nauseous, I drink ginger ale.
Ginger ale?
Yeah.
I like to have the coffee. I really have to have it.
Yeah.
Just to get awake.
One of these days, I'll get into coffee. Meanwhile, what I am into, clearly, embarrassingly, is The Bachelor. And, you know, like myself, many Bachelor fans were kind of hoping the rumors weren't true, but on Monday's controversial season finale, Ben rejected Lindsay and proposed to the show's resident villain. Well, she's not really a villain, Courtney Robertson, but that's what they say. Take a look.
A little wedding plan. This is the best way I can think of to show Ben how I feel about him.
Okay, now you can see them together. There they are. And after they promised to love each other forever, Ben was caught kissing other women, so we've heard. Okay, now he says they are old friends of his and that there was no kissing involved at all. This is not a real kiss. What you're seeing is tabloid journalism that is fabricating gossip, but none of this is Ben doing anything wrong.
If he's that close with his friends, then
yeah,
I mean, that's kind of, his hand is on her rear.
I know, but that kind of looks like Courtney. I almost think
you think
that's
it's Courtney?
her. Yeah, I think that's Courtney.
So they're trying to say another girl?
Yeah, I don't know.
If it's not Courtney, I would be very happy if I were Courtney.
I don't know. They were pretty cute. They were pretty cute together after all. And I think she got a bad rap. Look, you know what? When we're in weird, stressful situations, imagine yourself being in a house with 25 gorgeous women. Okay, everybody competing for the same guy. Now imagine you're dating the same man for weeks at a time, kissing the same man and falling in love with the same man. It does bring out the worst in people. It has
I would never. I don't care how.
Never.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't deal with the cattiness of all the women, and then to think that there's just enough competition without being in the house with all these women.
Kidding. No kidding.
I would never put myself in that situation.
It's really hard to share a man. You don't want to share a man. It's hard.
No. Yeah. But in the post-proposal show after the final rose, they claim they want to work it out. Ben gave Courtney a new ring that he bought himself after ABC confiscated the first one.
Yeah, she talked a lot about the ring during the proposal. She kept saying, "Wow, it's beautiful." She was really into the ring. She was really into it. Yeah.
Well, we'll
anyway,
see what happens. Okay. Moving on to some music stuff, which you love.
Yes.
There's been endless speculation on who is going to fill the X Factor judges seats left vacant by last season's judges Paula Abdul and Nicole Scherzinger.
Yeah, and now the Fox show creator and fellow judge Simon Cowell fills us in on what's really going on in the game of musical chairs. Fox's Sabrina Sabag has the details.
Simon right here. The clock is ticking away for Simon Cowell and his X Factor team to replace 2 judges and find 2 new hosts for the show's 2nd season. Cowell says the process has been more difficult than most would think.
I'm not going to lie, you change your mind. And then last night, as an example, 2 more people threw their names in the hat who weren't on the list 2 or 3 weeks ago. And they're really well-known people, and they've suddenly decided they're interested. So you've got to keep all your options open.
Britney Spears and Janet Jackson have both been mentioned.
Janet's a superstar. You know, I mean, again, survived the decades. Still looks amazing, still hungry for success, has worked with some of the biggest names, in the world. And interestingly, hypothetically, I understand that she would be really interested in mentoring talent as well. The downside is, if all the people you're talking to suddenly say no, and you've got a really terrible panel, you're in a bad place. But that's show business. When I'm making these decisions, I kind of make the decision, would I be interested in seeing Britney on one of these shows? And the answer is yes. Because even though she's one of the most famous pop stars still on the planet, I still don't know much about her as a person. So I think the opportunity to get America to see a different side of her personality, I think would be fun.
Cowell says season 2 will be even better.
I'm feeling really, really optimistic that something special is going to happen this year. The show will look different from the competition, and it will look different from last year. But I've got a good feeling.
In Hollywood, Sabrina Sabah, Fox News.
I trust Simon. I trust him.
I would love to see Britney on there.
I kind of would too.
I would.
And I would love to see Janet. I'm a huge Janet Jackson fan.
Yeah.
But she's so soft-spoken, you won't be able to hear her. You'll have to turn off your TV when she talks. Meanwhile, it's a big week for DVD releases featuring films that actually won the top honors at the Oscars this year.
Fox's Ashley Dvorkin shows us what's new in entertainment.
Thought we'd stop by and say howdy.
A couple of this year's Academy Award contenders lead the week's DVD list.
Don't ever do that to me again.
Starting with the quirky family drama that earned George Clooney a Best Acting Oscar nomination in The Descendants, about a husband dealing with his wife's infidelity after a water skiing accident puts her in a coma. Michelle Williams received honors for transforming herself into Tinseltown's most famous blonde bombshell in My Week with Marilyn. Steven Spielberg and Peter Jackson team up to bring to life the adventures of Tintin, an animated take-home for the kids following the famous young treasure hunting reporter from the popular comic.
Don't call it a comeback!
Also for young viewers at home, the musical sequel Happy Feet 2, with sing-along bonus features and a look at the famous voices behind those tuxedo-clad stars.
You move back, or?
Of course not. Gross.
With a dark comedy written by Diablo Cody, Charlize Theron plays a former prom queen clutching to her past and trying to win back her now married high school sweetheart in young adult.
You really wanted this, but I do.
Fusing apocalyptic thrills and family drama, there's Melancholia, starring Kirsten Dunst and Alexander Skarsgård.
Stop! In the name of law!
And star, writer, and producer Peter Facinelli offers Lucy's, about a New York City pickpocket and the chance encounter that changes his life. Then from from the world of music, rocker Meatloaf takes the spotlight with those signature power vocals, bringing a storytelling collection with Hell in a Handbasket. In New York, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
You know, it's funny they showed Meatloaf because recently I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show on VH1, and he was so young when he did that. Did you ever see the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I did.
Did you like it?
Oh, that was good.
It's kind of freaky, right?
Kind of, yeah,
it's
a little
like
bit.
One of those movies that you're like, you kind of have when you're a kid. You're like, I have to go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and then you watch it and you have no idea what's going on at all. But now I watch it back and I'm like, oh, that's what that meant. Oh,
I need to go back and rewatch it because I still don't think I know. I need to go back and rewatch.
At least the music is good, but I like that Meatloaf is still going strong. He was on Celebrity Apprentice last year, and we saw kind of a little bit of a quirky side to his temperament, but I'm glad that he's going back to the music roots.
Yeah.
He's a talented guy.
Good to see that.
Yeah, and I was outside this morning, and it's still, to me, it still felt an hour earlier. I'm like not used to this daylight savings thing.
It is. The sun's rising a little bit later, and of course it's still tough to get up early out there, and it's going to be that way for the rest of the week. So, but we're looking at a lot of sunshine, and we're going to be looking at beautiful weather.